Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I would like to go over a company that makes it more difficult to repair what you bought and paid for. On this channel, I've gone over many examples of companies that have made it more difficult to repair what you bought and paid for. They have unrepairable products, or they have repairable products that would be repairable if parts were available that the manufacturer withholds from both customers and independent repair technicians. One of the problems that I've talked about on this channel is that people tend to fight amongst themselves for the purposes of boosting their own ego rather than actually look at the people who are screwing them. When it comes to Apple products, people will make fun of people for buying Apple products, and they won't realize that both Google, Samsung, and many other companies do a lot of the same stuff. They copy what Apple does when they realize that they can get away with it. Many people find it easy to laugh at Tesla and their data collection and the computer in the car, and in spite of the fact that General Motors and Chevy do the exact same thing. Not only do the same thing, they do it to a much worse extent by taking your driving data, stalking you, not only knowing where you're going, but whether or not you hit the accelerator pedal or the brake pedal quickly, and then send that information to data brokers, which then send it to insurance companies to raise your rates. As long as we're fighting amongst each other, we're not going to be paying attention to the fact that every single company is going out of their way to dig into our products, dig into our lives, and take away rights of ownership. And today I'd like to discuss another company that seems to be doing that I would never expect to be doing this. And this is, again, in a new industry, because every industry appears to be copying this. This is with a gas range that many of you may know as a very, very high-end one. Personally, I ain't spending more than $900 on a stove. I got a really nice propane range in my kitchen, and again, even going into four figures for that stuff, just no. But when you take a look at this over here, this is an 11,000-pound gas range. And when you check out the websites that sell their products, you can see that these very easily go for 8,000 pounds and more. In spite of the fact that this costs as much money as it does, and in spite of the fact that in their marketing materials, it says, and I quote, "built for life," 15 years after you buy this thing, it may actually be a steaming pile of crap because the company will not provide you with parts. Again, this is a fixable device, just like a MacBook is a fixable device that is made unfixable when the manufacturer chooses to withhold proprietary parts for the device until the news steps in and they go, "my bad." They gave a different answer to the news network than they gave to the ordinary customer. Imagine that. Katie Morley, a self-described consumer champion, decided to call the company after they denied somebody a part to an 8,000-pound gas range. The part that was broken in this particular gas range was the burner kit, which is obviously going to be necessary for the stove to work. And one of the problems here is that they said that they couldn't make the part available, and then when the news called them up, they're like, "oh, my bad, that must have been a piece of misinformation." They came back quickly after saying that you had been misinformed. The part you were told had been discontinued in 2021, the Rayburn, would in fact be available in a week's time, meaning your cooker could be repaired after all. And this is one of those things where I imagine that they are going to tell a news outlet something different than they would tell an ordinary customer. And this is the same problem that we run into with many other products. There is a MacBook motherboard that costs $1,500, where the only thing that goes wrong with it is a chip that costs $5. The reason that I'm not able to fix that in certain instances is because that chip is not made available. If I knock on the door of Intersil or Texas Instruments and say, "hey, I'd like to buy 10,000 of this chip," I will wire the money. I will never ask for any form of customer service whatsoever. If anything is wrong with these, it's on me. And, again, no chargebacks on a wire transfer. They will say that they are not allowed to sell that chip to me. This is different than the way it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 30 years ago when things were available. And one of the things that a lot of people say is that this is your problem because you were stupid and you bought an Apple product. You bought a Samsung. What kind of moron buys a Samsung? In reality, this happens with every brand, whether we're talking about Apple or Aga. Aga? Asia? Aga. Asia. Deacon Blues? Big Black Cow. In all seriousness, I can't pronounce the brand name, but you get the point. This happens with virtually every company nowadays. Every company is moving towards this disposable model. Now, whether this is a case of them actively conspiring against your rights of ownership, or whether it's just, this other company got away with making something unrepairable, why are we going to stock parts? Why are we going to have a parts department or a repair department when we can simply go home early? I don't really care at the end of the day why this is the way it is, why the world is moving towards this unrepairable nonsense. What I do care about are people noticing it, people waking up to the fact that more and more products and more industries are becoming unrepairable. Rather than make fun of each other, we should point the finger where it belongs, at the manufacturer. Because this is going to become a problem in every industry. Tractors, medical equipment, stoves, and it doesn't matter whether you're buying something cheap or expensive. With televisions, when they spy on you, you'll very often hear, you bought a $200 television. What kind of moron, poor person buys a $200 television and expects that it not be subsidized in some way? My television cost $3,700. I'm 35 years old. At this point in my life, I can afford a $3,700 television. And you know how stupid I am? Do you know how much of a dumb mother effer I am? I bought this thing, and when I turned it on, for the first several days that I used it, I didn't realize that there's an option within the television's menu that says, do not sell my personal data. That is turned off by default. Doesn't matter how much money you spend. It doesn't matter whether you are rich. It doesn't matter whether you are buying a laptop, a television, a car, or a stove. It's the same thing. And unless we kind of band together and push back against it, it will continue. This anti-repair, anti-ownership nonsense will continue to infiltrate every aspect of our lives. This stove is still available. They were telling this customer that this burner kit was not available, the part is discontinued, while simultaneously continuing to sell this stove on their website. To this day, you can check out their website and buy a Rayburn 400 cooker. And when you take a look at their marketing materials for this piece of shit, to this day, they will advertise that these are, and I quote, built for life. This is bullshit. You know this is bullshit, and you shouldn't put up with it. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Man, am I happy I don't have a Asia Deacon Blues propane range in my kitchen. Are you? Think about it. Think about it. People get mad when I don't pet the kitty. I always have to pet the kitty. Look at how happy she is. The moment she gets any pets, this is the happiest kitty on earth. Literally the happiest kitty on earth. And she should be. She is so spoiled. She gets reveal 2 or 3 times a day. She gets her halo. She gets her pets. She gets combed. She gets her little pet shampoo. She's a good girl. Such a good girl. Who's a good girl, Blackberry? Who's a good girl? If you try to sponsor block this kitty out of this video, I'm telling you, I will destroy you. Blackberry deserves her screen time. Can't believe people would put the kitty in sponsor block. Why would you put the kitty in sponsor block? You know there's 2 videos of mine where they put the kitty in sponsor block? Not once has this adorable little Blackberry ever shilled Raycons, Audible, BetterHelp, a crappy Android game. This kitty has never tried to advertise to you. How dare you? How dare you? All right. All right, Blackberry, I got to go to work. Blackberry. All right. Blackberry, I have a job. I have a company to run, girl. I'm going to need you to... Okay, fine. Who need... Fuck going to work. I have a kitty to take care of. Fine. I will keep petting you. I will pet you until you bite me as hard as possible. Kitties want to be pet a certain amount of times. 18 pets and they are happy. 19 pets and she will bite my hand until I bleed to death to let me know that that was too many. Man, she really wants to get pet today. That's a lot of... Look at this kitty. Look at this kitty. Good girl. Why'd you stop petting me?